Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you this lovely bracelet. So I had made this, I don't know, probably a week or two ago, and people had mentioned they were really interested in how to make this. So let's take a look. It's super simple, and yeah, we'll show you the components to it. So you're going to need some type of cord. Now, I bought this macrame cord from AliExpress. I think they were about $5 each, and they're 100 yards. I think you could probably get it cheaper. So, yeah, take a look. But if you're interested, I'll leave the links for you because I know some people have already mentioned that they were interested. Actually, this seller too. Now I picked the like natural an unbleached color, then a gray, a pink, and a blue. But I think they had like above 20 different colors of these. So definitely take a look at the site. The cord is not as thick as I would have liked. You can kind of see here. It's actually quite thin. And let me see if I have a piece. I have some macrame cord. Yeah, it's I don't have it at my desk. So I did buy some macrame cord from Amazon. You may have seen in a unboxing. That cord was the thickness that I was looking for. So that cord was probably between a 2 and a 3 millimeter. So I would suspect this is, they may be calling this a 2 millimeter. I think it's more like a 1. So the only reason I mention that is the idea that I had was this multi-strand braid, and I wanted it to be a nice chunky bracelet. And also, this is to me kind of like a summery, kind of fun bracelet. It's super soft. That's the other thing with this stuff. It's amazing. It's so soft. But you can see it turned out really nice. So this design, I did 3 strands for each braid, and like 3 strands for each kind of woven braid. So it's actually 9 strands in this one. So the next one, the one we're going to do right now, I'm going to do 4 strands and see how that works. So it might give me the little more chunky that I need. Now here's the thing we might run into problems is this cap. These are just caps I got on AliExpress a long time ago. And this stuff is super soft, so you can squeeze it. So you should be able to squeeze it into the tube. But I think maybe when we start if you add 3 more strands, that might be a bit difficult. But we'll do our best. And yeah, so, and I just added a charm. So I have these 2 charms to go. We're going to do the blue, and we'll decide which charm looks best on it. I think I want to go with this, a little more simple, flowery summer. This one's a little more elegant, but we'll see. So let's put that aside, and I'll just move those up a bit. So what I did was, for the strands, is I just measured out 12 inches for each strand. That just makes it easier to weave. You're definitely not going to need 12 inches. This one here fits my wrist exactly with the caps. So, and my wrist is really small. Mine's a 6 3/4 wrist. So if you're doing a 7.5-inch bracelet, you need it longer. But I'll show you. So here is the one for my size, and you can see this goes way beyond that. So we're going to weave the whole thing and then measure it on the mandrel and get a 7.5-inch bracelet out of that, so that you have a better idea. But definitely the 12-inch works. So for this one here, we did 9 strands, so that we need 3 extra strands for this, so I did 12. And I just measure the first one and then fold it over and get them all together. So now what we want to do is we want to tie these all together so that they're not going to come apart, and so that we have something to hook up to something else. I'm just going to use this thread that I have, but you might want to use some like sewing thread for this part. Let me see if I have a piece of sewing thread here. It's attached to something. Oh, it's not sewing thread, never mind. It's the like beading thread, so it's super narrow. Okay, so let's just take, and I'm just gonna maybe wrap it a few times. And we're going to clip this so that it fits in the thing, so you don't have to worry about how far in you get this. So let's see if I can tie this in a knot. I probably should have left more thread. I don't know why I'm being frugal. Don't ask me why. I think it's more lazy going and getting my thread. Okay, let's pull that tight and then add a few more knots. Get that in there. There. Second knot. I think this needs another twist around and knot, because that's not holding these. Because these you do want it to be tight, because you'll be using this to attach your bracelet. Part of it is I'm far away from my the edge of the desk. This is like a lot harder to do on camera than if you were doing this at home. Maybe just make sure that's, do one more here. So yeah, definitely use thread for this. I mean, you could have this on a needle and weave it through your strands. So that's good now. So we'll leave that like that. And I'm just looking for my macrame board is not here. So let's just, so now go down to the bottom, because you see I have this all rounded. Cut these strands. There. So now we're going to separate these by 3s. And I would try and do it, let me enlarge this here. I would try and do it so that it's, you know, get the threads as close to each other. So these 3 are close to each other, so you want to hang on to that. So just move them over here. Then grab your next 3. Oh, sorry, 4. Just remembered we're doing 4 on these. So we'll take this one and add it to here. I was looking and I could visually count. It's like, there's way too many threads. Wait a minute, we're doing 4. Okay, so there's 4 there, and there's 4 in the middle. Just like that. So I would definitely, okay, so here's one of the problems we're having here is I just pulled this and it started sliding through, so definitely make sure that that is secure. And what we could do is do something like this, so those guys won't move. Once you get them started, then you don't have to worry about how much you're pulling on them. So just try and get them lined up flat. Let's see if I can slide this one in here. You don't have to, but I kind of like the look of it with it flat like that. And then this one flat. Straighten these strands. Okay, so now you have your strands. Now you just start to braid. So we'll start from the right. So take it, and I hold my finger here and move this over like that, like a flat. And you can bring it a little more, like that. Okay, so then you're going to grab your next strand and bring it in between the other. We will tighten this up. Just move that one over like that, and then bring this. This will be our next one that goes over. Okay, so pick these up, sit flat, and you can kind of pull them, bring it over like this. So when we go to do our next one, which is this one here, then we can pull it a little tighter, but just hang on to your pieces like that. And you can just, this won't matter as we get a little further down. You'll see it'll start to tighten up. It's just this initial weave, and I'm gonna see if I can pull that one a little snugger like that there. And then, so then this part goes pretty easy there. And I'm just gonna pull that one and bring it over. So I'm going to hang on to these guys, because you see how this one's sticking out a bit, and that's that piece here that's coming down. So I want that to straighten out a bit. We might pull it out here. There. There. All the strands, get them all even. There. And that's it. Now we start to go through. So there's a bit of, it's not quite as simple as braiding, in the sense that with braiding you don't have to worry about the orientation of your strands, but because we want this to be represented in a flat way, so you have to be a little more careful using your fingers, your free fingers, to get everything in. But if you've done a lot of braiding, it will quickly get pretty straightforward. And if you're doing this on a macrame board, or this is attached, it will be quite easy. Let me just tilt my camera so you can see what's going on down here. So let's get that one in position, and tighten these guys a bit. And you might want to work on your, that's this one here that needs to be tightened. You might want to work on your tension. So I'm getting it super tight. It doesn't really need to be that tight. there. And as I'm going down, I'm smoothing these, the light. Increase that a bit. Okay. And I do find if you bring your strands up, then this area here, when it twists, is a little shorter, so you don't have this like this area here where it's longer. But again, that's just preference. Let's see if we can get this flat. Straighten these guys out a bit. And so just to mention this, when I ordered this cord, this one here was smelt moldy, and I couldn't decide whether I should do a dispute on it or not. But I have essential oils, so I actually left them out. And I left it by the window just to get some fresh air. But and put a couple of drops of essential oil. I used orange oil, and they're fine now. And it's not super strong of the orange either, so it kind of got rid of that smell. Put that one there, and keep going. I'm trying to straighten my strands in the same position. It's not necessary, but that's me. So there. Yeah, keep going. So we'll just keep going like this till we get the length that we want. So you might want to go past the length because we are going to tie this off like we did at the top. You know what? This is looking a lot more like what I wanted. Like, I don't know if I can show you there. What a big difference. Let me get the smaller one. Oh, that's a huge difference. Yeah. So that's all it took was 4 strands on this. Let's get this up here. And tangle these guys. So I used to have really long hair. My hair was all the way down my back and down below my butt. Long curly hair. And let me tell you, it was hot when I was nursing. So when I would get up in the morning to go to work, I would shower, wet my hair, and then put it in a ponytail. I would get home from work and I'd go to take my ponytail out and it was still wet. But it kept me cool through the day. Because even with air conditioning, you're so hot behind the curtains taking care of patients. I think we're almost there. So if you had that little girls that you braided their hair, My mom used to, because my hair was curly and she figured that out early on, she would brush my hair when I was, after I had a bath, and she would brush it around her finger in curls, and my hair would come out these long ringlets. And I have some pictures of school events where we were doing dances and stuff. And the other parents would take pictures of me because of my ringlets. So funny. I guess I was cute. My wife would, if I said that to my wife, she would say, "It's a good thing you were cute because you're such a troublemaker." I'm like, shh, don't tell anybody. That's funny. You know what? I had I think it was grade 1 teacher that just adored me. She would come over when I was doing my schoolwork and she would pet my hair. I don't know if you'd get away with that today, but I loved it, of course. And I was really sick that year. I had tonsillitis and some other things, so I missed a lot of school. And grade 1, surprisingly, is really, it's not that it's difficult, there's a lot of new skills you learn in grade 1 from, kindergarten being some very basic stuff, more socialization and using things like scissors and painting and glue and whatnot. But when it comes to grade 1, you're starting to learn to read and write and stuff like that. So anyway, being sick so much, I don't know that I wasn't, like, I probably, when I got to grade 2, was fine, but anyway, she passed me anyway. And surprisingly, that some kids don't get passed from grade 1 to grade 2, which, you end up catching up, so it's not as big a deal. There's a strand here that's off. How dare that strand be off? Okay, I think we're close to the end. You can see there's just a bit left. Let me get my ruler. Oh, this is looking amazing. We want 7.5, so let's do it to about here. Oh yeah, we got plenty. Okay. So this one, I'm actually, instead of folding sideways, I'm going to fold it over. And I'm going to fold the other one over. And that way, we can get a nice little tight bundle of threads here. Get my cheapy, these are like pieces of strand thread that I had left over. I'm so bad. Let's get it at the halfway mark here. There. Off. Okay, I'm going to wrap this a couple of times. I used to save all my little pieces of thread, and just because the fire line is so expensive, but I don't do that now. Not anymore. I'm like, yeah, whatever, throw it out. Well, especially because I saved it and then I had a glass jar that had all these little strands, and I'm like, I get annoyed that things were getting cluttered. So I'm just gonna make sure. Oh yeah, that's actually tighter than the other one. We might tighten this one. Yeah, I should have. You know what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip this and I'm gonna tighten it properly. You know what? I'm not gonna bother, because I'll tell you what. I kind of like this end better. It's nice and wide, but I think we went too narrow here, and this is way longer than 7.5, so I think we may put another piece. So here's the next step to this is once you have both ends tied off, then find your measurement of your bracelet and then tie off on there, and then you can cut that piece off. So that's what we'll do, and we'll use proper thread, I promise. Although this one tied nicely, so we might find another long piece. So let me get my ruler out. Okay. So yeah, it's actually, you know what? For the bracelet to be 7.5 and the clasp is this length, so that is 1.5 is the clasp. So let's do 6.5. Yeah, and that'll take us right to that spot where I want to cut. So I'm actually looking for other little threads. I am so bad. Let's get a piece here. Okay. So we got 6.5 right there. So it's at that little yellow spot. Just past it. Let's go like this. Like that. And it's tied around my thumb finger. Make our next knot. There. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to wrap that a few times around and do the other side a few times around, and then we'll tie this off. There. Clip that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this because we don't need that much here. So actually I'll cut it even shorter like this. Okay. And then we're going to stuff that in. Then you can just toss this. Save it and untangle it and use it for thread. I'm so cheap. So I'm just kind of getting these a little even and maybe a bit on an angle to go into the tube a little better. Okay, so let's tidy this one up too. And I'm just making sure that these guys are good as well. Okay. Get rid of this stuff. Okay. And so you can put it two ways. So if you notice, this is a bit rounded on one side, and then if you flip it, it actually goes in. So it's up to you. I think the rounded side up is the best way. It's not going to matter when we're putting this together, but it will depend. So there's the kind of fun summery one, and then there's this one. Yeah, I think this one is the one. So let's take this apart. So you will need some type of glue to glue these in, and some type of poking tool to get your strands in. I'm going to use these. These are like for nail art. They're super cheap, like a couple of dollars for a set of 5 or 6. So, and these are like different sizes. So let's get our glue. I'm going to put some on this stick-it pad. There. Cap back on. And I have a toothpick here somewhere. So I'm going to put some inside. This glue gets, the glue gets sticky. Imagine that. So then try and squeeze your piece as narrow as you can. See? And then like bring it to one side and then to the other. And kind of twist and turn. We'll see if we can get these guys in. So just take your tool and push those guys in. Let's go to the other side. So you might want to cut that a bit shorter so that your strand doesn't show. I think that's what I did for the other one. And now that it's kind of in, you can maybe twist and push at the same time. Now what you could do is, if you're using a different glue, like GS Hypo, and I'll show you that one actually, is you can get this in and then apply some GS Hypo. I might add some GS Hypo. I feel like I want those strands to be really secure. So the other one went in really easy because of course it was less strands. So if you have bigger caps, definitely use them to make your life a lot easier. And we'll cut the next one a little shorter on that side. But getting in there. I feel like maybe I'm I was going to say it looks like one side is poking out as I poke the other side in, but it seems to be going in actually, so. And now you actually can't really see that thread, so. Put this last little bit in. I feel like there's, if I push my tool in all the way, that there's still room, so. There. Leave it like that. That looks pretty good. Let's look at the distance. So yeah, let's just, we don't have to trim it too much because it might make it harder to get in. Let's see what we got with this one. Okay. This looked kind of funny. I am gonna use some fresh glue on this. And you could just go put this in this way. Just like that. Let's see what we can manage here. So bring it from one side. Try and squeeze it in the other way. That seemed to work pretty good. And then just poke that in. That was better. So that's all it took, is cutting it a little more. And get that in. Okay, so I will show you the GS Hypo technique. There's not that much to it. So there's the GS Hypo. This stuff is amazing because I don't know what happened to my needle that it does that. I suspect maybe I didn't have it sealed all the way, so it leaked out. There, it's starting to come out. So take your GS Hypo needle and kind of, don't do that. Poke it in there and you can just gently squeeze it. You can kind of see the dark section. And then this is my trick to get the cap. So it stops the glue from coming out. And then when I get my cap, because you got to put this in the hole, I find the beveled part and I put it against my finger, and then I draw the needle up against my finger and it slides into the right spot there. Put it all the way in and close it up. Oh yeah, this is not sealing properly. You know, it's weird. It doesn't, there used to be a screw. So this is not screwing, so that's why that is happening. Get that off my finger. And I want to wipe this off too. There. Okay, so let's add. Move this out of the way. Try and clean that off a bit. So to add your charm, you can either sew it in. What I did on this one is I added a jump ring to it. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I kind of want it to sit. Ah, that one is different. That is, so this one the whole orientation goes front to back, so that worked with my jump ring. This one, it will be tilted if I do it the same way. We'll see what happens. I think we're just going to put a small just wondering if we did two. Tools here. So let's start with this one. Just open your jump ring and find the midpoint. So about here somewhere. I'm just going to put it around one strand. Oh, maybe two. Has a mind of its own. I'm going to close this. I am going to put two jump rings. I kind of want it to sit a certain way. There. So I want it to sit this way. Oh, I guess that would have worked. Never mind. Let's open it up. Let's find in the opening here. Oh, it's right there. It's really hard to see. You think I could close a jump ring that nicely if I tried? There. And close that. There. That is awesome. That worked out nice. So there is your bracelet. Ta-da. And then we just, so this can fit anybody with that extender chain. That. There you go. That turned out lovely. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me. And we're getting really close to 7K or 8K. So yeah, if you have any friends that are interested in beading and stuff, let them know. We can get it up to 8K and get a giveaway going on. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet, but you know from all my past giveaways, they're usually a lot of fun. So there you go. Take care, everybody. See you in the next video. Bye.